Yeah, yeah. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? I'm here. I'm back. What's up? We survived the cold, so we good. We good. I'm BG. I'm your host. This is a new wrinkle on the brain. Let's get it in. We're gonna do something to the brain today. We're gonna get ourselves some wrinkles because I mean we can't be out here with these soft brains. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing a lot of soft brain stuff. Yeah, I took about I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to do one last Friday. I skipped it. That was on me. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was working with these guys right here. Um, went and got registered and all that. I'll talk about that in a whole nother podcast. That's I'm saving all that to March. Like in March, we'll talk about the whole fishing aspect. We're gonna do a whole survival primal thing. We're gonna go back to basics. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, we really need to understand food doesn't always have to come from a supermarket. We don't have to rely on HEB, Walmart, Albertsons, or if wherever you are, Aldi's and Piggly Wiggly. I mean, we can do better. In a lot of places, there are very good fishing. So we're going to talk about all those aspects. Lake fishing, bank fishing. We're going to go deep, hard in the paint, and that's all going to happen in March. But this month is February. Black History Month. That's my month. What? My month, man. My History Month. Guess what? I got some shit. I I thought at first I was like, I might have to look for some stuff for a while. I might have to collaborate with like multiple videos and all that. Nope. Thank you, YouTube. You're not canceling history yet. Shit. I probably shouldn't have said that. I think the universe heard me, but we're gonna keep on moving. But no, seriously, I'm loving what I'm seeing. As far as the historical value, people are waking up. People are definitely open to new information. Like especially like this right here. I got this beautiful video. It's really gonna reinforce information for a lot of people. You might actually be aware of this. Some people who've done your own homework, yes, you might be very aware of the Dogons. I'm gonna go real slow on how we even get into Dogon. But for me, I felt, especially with the last videos I was doing in January, I was like, we went pretty astrological. We went pretty out of this world, and I don't think I didn't do it for no reason. You know what I'm saying? There's a method to the madness. There's a method to the madness. And this is really gonna home in and kind of just put a lot of those ideas together. So in the Anunnaki series that I did last month, we talked about possible origin stories of mankind in general. The retelling of the Adam and Eve story, the understanding that if Adam and Eve were the only ones here when he kicks them out, who are they meeting? Who are they meeting? They meet other people. Reread the Cain and Abel story. There are men out there. I will die. God says, I will protect thee. However, get the fuck out of the fucking garden. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the book doesn't really read well in that story of why would we section off people, have them, obviously they were breeding, but why would we section off people? Just two, by the way, two, one of them even genetically created. I mean, we have to talk about this. This is huge. Were we missing this from the Bible? Were we just like not reading it? Why? I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot of books now, so maybe my cognitive ability is going up because I'm reading other books. I don't know. It just seems very Lord of the Rings to me. You know, oh, there's an ancient group. Oh, well, the ancient group no longer exists. But why? Oh, well, they killed off each other. What do you mean they killed off each other? Well, there was a fight and one group left the other. The group that died and did terrible was the group that stayed. It turns out there was a group that walked for 40 years in the desert. They get a message from the sky. They get a message from a burning bush. Okay, hold on. Burning bush. Well, that's physical. We can talk about burning bushes. But it gives you information about the next couple thousand years of how people should interact with each other, because we now understand that, hey, what you guys have done is stupid. What you guys are doing is stupid. So stupid. We had to give you 10 rules to live by because you guys are so stupid. This is intense. We have to break it down into regular English, 2022 English, okay? I'm tired of getting this whole talk salad of, well, you know, the book says, well, you know, in this chapter, you're reading the same book and you haven't even read it. You haven't read it well enough to understand what it actually says. And then when you start to hear these other stories, it begins to make more sense when you hear other books. In totality, what I'm saying is read other religious books. Don't stick to one. Sticking to the Bible would be the same as being a reader of Harry Potter and you believe in and you believe in the train number 9 and 13/17 or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm gonna go to the train station and we're gonna go into awkward and natural space and we will become wizards and gods. No, we don't become wizards, dude. Wizards and which, dude, your cat's not gonna talk to you. Some people believe their cats do talk to them. I'm not judging you, but when it comes to, you know, the hilarity of what religion is, think about it. It's you being told to read a book and follow the one book. There's thousands of books. I mean, has any other person who wrote a book told you to follow that one book forever, or you will go to a place you don't want to go to? Seems like we're in that place now. Mandates, and we get, I mean, it's so bad. Canada is revolting. It's so bad currently in 2022. Canada is leading the revolt in North America. I digress. Black History Month. Haha! Black History Month. Let's talk about it. We got to go back home. All right. Yep. So here's what we're going to do. I got some options here. Just wanted to give you some info before we do some learning, because before we do some learning, I definitely want to give some shine where shine is needed. Let me share my screen real quick for you. I want to make sure y'all can see what I'm saying. Make sure y'all on this page with me. All right. Now we're playing with fire. All right. Before I proceed, want to give some love to Mr. Home Team History. This is on YouTube, free to watch. This is no cost to you, 100% free. Y'all know me, I like free. So there you go. Home Team History. This is a history of the Dogon and their ancient science. This is not a new video. This is something that's been around for a while. Again, like I said, some people are going to know about this. Some people are going to have information already. Like, you may have a pretty good understanding of African history. I myself may be like everyone else. I don't know a whole lot. So, you know, and being of this culture, possibly related directly to this culture, I think it's very important that we understand a civilization that 100% literally has been untouched. Like, there's a list of groups of people who have been untouched by history. This is one of those groups. So I think it's really important. I think we should check this out. And again, give it a grain of salt. You don't have to believe everything you hear, but when you hear what you're going to hear, it's going to do something to you. Like I said, remember, in the Sumerian thing I did last month, we were talking about star systems, the Anunnaki having been brought here, the Anunnaki having a lot to do with the Egyptian culture. So the Egyptian culture is going to come up here. Obviously, we're in Africa, so kind of had to do that. But it's going to be very interesting where the story turns. And I'm not gonna blow it for you. I haven't even watched the whole thing yet, so I think this is really, really cool. For Black history, for American, for just for information history in general, religious history. This is theology. I mean, I don't know if they cover this in theology school or whatever. I honestly wouldn't know and kind of don't care. But if they do not cover this in theology, when you're learning about religions, world religions, how people have moved, cultures, the amalgamation of cultures, the separation of cultures, we have to understand that just a little bit more. I think it's important for the people. And if we're going to move forward, we should understand where these failures are and where we can move forward in a healthy, productive manner. I think that's important. And as a new Wrinkle on the Brain host, I think the wrinkle we could gather here could say, oh, hey, we are all in the same, we're all on the same ball. And if the ball is the earth, if the earth is just this ball, yo, you got number one, take care of your ball. You know what I'm saying? Keep your eyes on the ball. We have all these sayings about the ball. Like if the ball's important, protect the ball, keep your eyes on the ball. You know, like we use these little colloquialisms, but I think we could take a little bit more from it because we're missing so much. And when you're reading one book or you're diving deep into only one thing, you end up getting blinders on. You know, you get real focused. You're not really taking in other pieces of information. Um, at a Wrinkle the Brain, we don't do that. We take in it all. We're gonna do the opposite today. So let's go ahead and do the opposite. Let's start taking in some stuff. Let's take the blinders off. I know things have been hard. That's why I'm not covering other topics. And I think doing something to where you can just escape, hear some info, whether you agree with it or not, I think it's productive and it's probably going to be the best route we can go on right now. Really just the most healthiest route. So let's give this a check out. We're going to hear the history of the Dogon. This is a tribe in Africa. And yes, we are going to learn about some history, Black history, ancient history, religious history. This is powerful stuff. I'm so excited. Let's check this out. And once again, I didn't catch the host name. So we're going to go to the beginning here. We're going to catch the host name because, again, I want to give credit where credit is due. I feel that we should all check this out. And you know what? I'll even leave his ad in there. If you want to check this guy out on Patreon, definitely worth it. Donate to this dude. He's doing great work, great historical data. Again, I really, really want to provide this to give as much as possible, when we weren't given it. You know, we weren't given this as kids. You know, I came up in the Baptist church. I wasn't given this in the Baptist church, that's for sure. But when going to school and learning more about the Egyptians and Amen and the different origins of where we get words, like saying Amen after a prayer, that could also relate to Amen Ra, a ancient god in Egypt. Fun fact. Let's learn. Dogons. The Dogon.
What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And welcome back to my series, A Closer Look. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the Dogon people of Mali.
It's a runaway video. Shit. Hold on. Let's do that one more time. I didn't catch his name. I'm so sorry. One more time.
What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and welcome back to another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And welcome back to my series, A Closer Look. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the Dogon people of Mali. And as always, if you want to support the home team, you can do so on patreon.com. I have some new rewards for you guys, so be sure to check that out. Also, go to afrographics.com, a website where you can find unique illustrative infographics summarizing African history. All links to
and you can also go to my support page. My support page can be found at anchor.fm/ANWOTB01, and you can go to the support link and you can support me. So if you like what you're hearing here, you can also support me, and I do more stuff like this, and I'll keep on touching on really, really cool subjects, and I have a huge piece I'm going to do pretty soon. But yes, I'm excited. Y'all should be excited. Be excited. Excitement. Come on, let's check this out. Cool new data. Let's check it out.
Patreon, Afrographics, and home team merchandise are in the description box below. According to oral tradition, the Dogon were originally members of the Kita family, a Mande-speaking group from the Niger River who fled their homes sometime between the 10th and the 13th centuries because they refused to convert to Islam. The oral tradition may show that the Dogon absorbed Mande-speaking refugees from the centralized Islamic kingdoms of the Niger Basin. However, the Voltaic or Gur language of the Dogon suggests a more ancient presence in their present-day homeland in south-central Mali. They inhabit the rugged and isolated Bandigara escarpment and surrounding regions southwest of the Niger Bend. The cliffs at the edge of the escarpment protected the Dogon from outside invaders. Dogon settlements concentrate around isolated pockets of arable land, where they farm millet as a subsistence crop. Traditionally, the Dogon have shared this territory with the Fulani, who exchanged their dairy products for Dogon grain and produce. Their rugged and isolated territory left them relatively unaffected by French colonialism and missionary work. By maintaining their pre-colonial cultural traditions and customs, the Dogon have attracted the attention of numerous ethnographers.
Quick word before I continue. I did remember this one. When he says that they cultivate meat or they cultivate a certain product, also keep in mind when the people of Israel were lost for 40 years in the desert walking, remember they speak of something called manna, that they were able to sustain themselves by eating a shared amount of manna. Where'd they get it from? Sounds like the Dogon may have helped. I don't know. Thought it was a fun little word there. But yeah, let's continue. Sorry, my bad. I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna stop no more. I'm gonna let it play, and I'll come back at the end with my piece. So check it out.
Including the French anthropologist Marcel Grial and the French ethnographic filmmaker Jean Roche. In recent years, however, the Dogon have increased their participation in the cash economy. Some villages have specialized in traditional crafts and performances in order to attract commercial tourism. Some Dogon have even left their homeland in search of wage labor, particularly in Bamako, Mali, and the mines of Côte d'Ivoire. Unfortunately, the Dogon have also recently faced animosity from their Fulani neighbors, with whom they compete for scarce mineral resources and mining jobs. A Hogan, or headman, traditionally the oldest man in the area, provides spiritual leadership. He performs rituals and safeguards the religious mask for which the Dogon are famous. The Dogon fall into at least 4 smaller groups: the Dayan, Aru, Onan, and Dumno. Unlike their Muslim neighbors, most Dogon still practice a traditional religion with a complex mythology. This has received considerable anthropological attention. Dogon cosmology considers every being a combination of complementary opposites. Elaborate rituals are necessary to maintain this balance. Ancestor worship is another important facet of Dogon religion. Members of the Society of Mask perform rituals to guarantee that a person's life force will flee from his or her corpse to a future relative of the same lineage. One of the most famous Dogon rituals is the Sigi, a series of rituals performed once every 60 years, recorded by filmmaker Jean Roche. Islamic missionaries, however, have had some success among the Dogon, and approximately 35% of the Dogon population are now Muslim. Much of Dogon art consists of ritual masks made with carved wood and other materials. Dogon architecture conveys symbolic relationships in Dogon society and is considered one of the most distinctive styles in West Africa. When the Dogon arrived at the Bandiagara escarpment, they found architecture and other remains of earlier civilizations, among these the Tolo and the Telem. Dogon villages are constructed to resemble a human body. At the head of the village is a blacksmith's shop and a toguna, a community men's house. The toguna is an open-walled structure with roof supports carved in human shapes, often the female form. Typically, the toguna has 8 such supports, with the number representing the first 8 Dogon ancestors who sat in a ruling council. Today, these ancestors impart wisdom and spiritual knowledge to Dogon elders when they meet in the togona to discuss village affairs. In the Dogon religion, Amma is a supreme creator god. The efforts of Amma initiated the formation of the universe, the creation of matter, and the process of biological reproduction. The notion of a creator god named Amma or Amen is one that is not unique to the Dogon people, but can also be found in the religious tradition of other West African and North African groups. Like other important Dogon cosmological keywords, the word Amma carries with it more than one level of meaning in the Dogon language. From one perspective, it can refer to the hidden god of the Dogon, and yet from another perspective, it can mean to grasp, to hold firm, or to establish. Among the Dogon, Amma is thought of as the god who holds the world firmly between his or her 2 hands, and to speak the name Amma is to entreat him or her to continue to hold it. Although commonly referred to as male, Amma is considered to symbolize both male and female principles, and as a result, is more properly characterized as genderless or as being of dual gender. This dual aspect of Amma's character is consistent with the broader cosmological principles of duality and the pairing of opposites that are expressed symbolically in all facets of Dogon religion and culture. It's also consistent with the male and female aspects of biological reproduction that Amma symbolizes. The Dogon religion is characterized as an esoteric tradition, one that involves both public and private aspects. Although Amma could be said to embody great creative potential, he or she is in fact considered by the knowledgeable Dogon priests to be small, so small as to be effectively hidden from view. Although this detail of Amma's character is generally not spoken of in public among the Dogon. This perceived smallness of Amma is consonant with the instrumental role that he or she is said to play in the mythological processes of the formation of matter and of biological reproduction. Perhaps the first important creation of the Dogon god Amma was the unformed universe, a body that is said to have held all seeds or signs of future existence. The Dogon referred to this body as Amma's egg. Now, it's actually been noted by respected researchers of Dogon myth, such as historian Nicholas Grimmel in his book, A History of Ancient Egypt, that there are likely symbolic parallels between key Dogon mythological characters and those of ancient Egypt. For instance, it can be argued that Amma is a likely counterpart to the Egyptian hidden god Amen, much as attributes of the jackal of the Dogon myths present clear parallels to the jackal god of the Egyptian underworld. Likewise, comparisons can be made between the Egyptian god Sab or Anpu, who acts as judge between good and evil, and the pale fox of Dogon tradition, who is charged with a similar role of judging between truth and error. The religious beliefs of the Dogon were first documented in studies conducted during the 30s, 40s, and 50s by French anthropologists Marcel Garel and Germain Deterlaine. A very interesting aspect of Grael's observation of Dogon cosmology lies with the suggestion that the Dogon know subtle details of the star system of Sirius beyond what might be reasonably observed with the naked eye. These details include an understanding that Sirius is a binary star system composed of a large, bright, sun-like star, Sirius A, and a much smaller, darker, dense, and heavy dwarf star, Sirius B. Goral also reported that the Dogon are aware of the 50-year period of orbit of Sirius B and Sirius A, a value that the Dogon assign as the interval between ritual observances of an important festival called Sigi, as mentioned before. These attributes of the Sirius star system were confirmed by the modern scientific community in 1915, almost 40 years before they were reported by Goral in connection with the Dogon. Based on that fact, Carl Sagan proposed that the Dogon most likely learned these astronomical facts from some modern visitor and later chose to incorporate them into the body of myth they reported to Grael. Germain Deterlaine disagreed with Sagan's interpretation and defended the indigenous nature of the Dogon's Sirius information by producing a 400-year-old artifact illustrated by the Dogon people. There are other speculative aspects of Dogon cosmology that give the impression of a deeper relationship between Dogon myth and actual science. Goral says that the Dogon myths describe how the Dogon god, Amma, created the universe in matter. The Dogon conceive of the unformed universe as a kind of primordial ball that contained all of the potential seeds or signs of the future universe. This ball is referred to as Amma's egg, as mentioned before, and Dogon artistic renderings of it take the same cone-like shape as the event horizon of a black hole in science. Stephen Hawking describes a black hole as an astronomical body that most closely resembles what the unformed universe may have looked like. Likewise, Dogon descriptions of the formation of the universe from Amma's egg are distinctly reminiscent of the Big Bang theory in science. According to Dogon myth, some undefined impulse caused this ball to open, releasing a whirlwind that spun and scattered its contents all over the universe, ultimately forming all the galaxies of stars and planets. Dogon descriptions of the mythological structure of matter are similarly reminiscent of science. They begin with a primary unit of matter called the Po, which the Dogon define in terms similar to an atom. The Dogon priests say that all matter is created by the continuous addition of like elements beginning with the Po. Likewise, the Po is defined as comprising smaller subcomponents like senecies, whose mythological descriptions, supposedly according to some, sound much like the protons, neutrons, and electrons of modern science. According to Dogon belief, these seeds combine at the center of the Po and then surrounded by a crossing in all directions to form a nest. A Dogon cosmological drawing of this nest takes a shape that is very similar to one of the typical electron orbital paths inscribed by an electron as it circles the nucleus of an atom. Like modern quantum theory, the Dogon myths tell of the existence of more than 200 primordial particles described as seeds or signs that are said to exist as paired opposites. Like modern string theory or torsion theory, these particles are said to be the product of the vibrations of primordial threads. According to Dogon myth, each thread passes through a series of 7 vibrations inside a tiny egg. These vibrations are characterized as 7 rays of a star of increasing length. The Dogon myths say that this last ray grows long enough to pierce the egg, an event that constitutes the end of the original egg and the initiation of a new egg. Together, these eggs in series are said to form membranes, which the Dogon compare to the thin covering that surrounds the brain. The Dogon alternately characterize these 7 rays by the spiral that can be drawn to inscribe their endpoints. This spiral can be said to be the tiny vortex that is proposed to exist in modern torsion theory. The Dogon myths also define a second thread of biological symbolism describing the formation of life from a fertilized egg, which can be seen to run parallel to actual biological science. The myths describe the hardening of an unfertilized egg that occurs at the moment of fertilization by a sperm and include descriptions of structures that resemble chromosomes and spindles and that seem to accurately describe key events that pertain to the division of a cell through the process of meiosis and mitosis. All in all, the Dogon seem to have orally recorded significant amounts of ancient African knowledge. Their culture not only preserves their own identity, but it also preserves invaluable scientific knowledge. The Dogon are no doubt one of the intellectual treasures of Africa. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help out in its continued production, please consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.
Hell yeah. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I'm gonna pause my system there because it wants to play more. No, no. Okay, no. Okay. We are good and we are back. Yes. So let's go to the notes. Now we heard a lot in a short amount of time. That's why I give this man props. He did a damn good job in a very short amount of time. He was able to give us an idea, an ideal, a synopsis of where their history comes from, what it has impacted, and also where we're finding like pieces of information now with science and technology, real science, not Fauci, but we're finding new information from archaeological data that we can use to confirm a lot of information here. The Adam and Eve story, I 100% believe is true. That jives. That jives with the idea of there being a greater, more powerful being that can control things at a level we cannot, or at a level we currently do not. Now that gets powerful. When I was taking notes here, the Day of the Dead came up for me. It was talking about mask, and I know there's always been word of like cultures moving from one place to another, and cultures kind of melding and whatnot. The Hispanic culture and the African culture are so alike. It's actually pretty amazing. It's very, very interesting. The whole mask, the veneration of mask and using the mask to to equate to an elder or family member that may have passed on or may not be here with us anymore. That's powerful. And if we're doing that in Africa, we're doing that also in Mexico. Dios de los Muertos. Come on, or however you say it. I may have said it wrong. Say it. Sorry. But Day of the Dead, this is a whole, it's actually becoming a genre. So I mean, I live here in San Antonio, so guess what? Yeah, we see that. You know what I'm talking about? Like come May, guess what? It's all about Day of the Dead out here. But again, it's a cultural thing. It's something that obviously evolved outside of religion. This was something that was probably like a spoken word thing within Mexico. But if it's a followed thing in Africa by one of the most ancient tribes in Africa, untouched by colonialism, do y'all understand what that means? Number one, they didn't remove people to make them slaves. Number two, you didn't persecute them to change out what they believe in or what they do. Number three, if they were allowed to continue to use their culture, use their think, now it turns out they're probably right. Okay, this is getting intense. This is becoming a wrinkle. Let's go deeper. Ama, their God, their celestial agent in which they pursue life to. Ama. Well, that could relate to Amen. Amen Ra. Or when you do your prayer, you say Amen. Okay. There would have to be a polar opposite of Amen to give this duality that they've obviously figured out. Like this group knows there's a duality. You cannot have a god and not have a goddess. These are, it doesn't jive. The story doesn't jive at that point. The story to me ends. But this story makes a lot of sense. So if we have Amma, and then we have Amen Ra, and then we're talking about duality. This brings me to maybe an old ancient thing. I don't know. Maybe an Asian thing we've heard of before. I don't know. Maybe should I say yin and yang? Maybe the yin yang symbol, the half of the half, the duality that makes whole, the one and all that creates all to be one. These are ideas that not only come up in Full Metal Alchemist, which is why I can say it easily, but it also comes up in these beliefs of, again, a duality, a not one God. It has to be a polytheism. You have to have people working together. Why does the Greek gods make sense? Well, yeah, there should be a god about the wind, and there should be a god for water. There should be a god for thunder. This all makes sense for some reason, but we forget about that. Now that brings me to the egg. So in this thing, it talks about the egg, the origin or delivery of man to the earth. Now, this could be an egg. Yeah, we could say, what came first? Well, now we know it's the egg. But no, on a serious factor, we have to slow down. But if quantum theory was able to confirm in 1915, Carl Sagan was able to also double confirm this data, we're getting a little bit deeper than religion. We're getting into some pretty intense science. And again, this has a lot to do with cloning. Alex Jones may have said some stuff like this. They're cloning your kids. I mean, it's understandable, but when he starts saying they're turning the frogs gay, yeah, we probably can't follow that. We're not turning frogs gay. But when he says things like, well, the Dogon tribe understands that we've come from space from aliens. Almost sounds ridiculous, but maybe Alex Jones was on to something. So, like I said before this thing started, we have these terms like keep your eye on the ball. The ball is the prize. Protect the ball. There's a lot of these colloquialisms. Some of them are derived from sports or used more in sports. However, keep your eye on the ball could also mean keep your eye in the sky. Now, there's for people who really get into astrology, looking at stars, this would be very good information to have. Keep your eye on the ball. That ball you're seeing up there, keep your eye on that. It's going to do something. What is it going to do? I don't know. Keep your eye on it. But then for this culture to have been untouched by anything, even untouched by our general science, they weren't given books, white folks weren't going over there teaching black folk, that was not happening. So if they were untouched, They were able to give information about the Big Bang Theory, information that jives with what they call the Poe. Now, the Poe could mean, like he mentions, a couple different things. But if all matter comes from the Poe, then we would have to go back and find out where else was this said. Oh, yeah, that's right. His name was Nikola Tesla, and he talked about the ether. All comes from the ether. The ether is the vibrative value. In order for things to move, it has to have a vibration. Each vibration has a range, which is why we're able to hear sound. That's why you're able to hear me right now. I'm currently working on a sound project for some speakers. I have to find out frequencies. I have to find out volume of cabinet space in order to make this speaker optimal. I can't just rig this speaker to a piece of wood, stand it up and say, hey, there you go, there's a speaker box. No, it's not how it works. And there's a reason that you want a box around a speaker. So with that being said, just to kind of take this from a sound standpoint, something everyone knows, if we put, and again, this is talking about the Poe, if we put a big amp, but a really small speaker, like a speaker that takes like 100 watts or something, a very small, very low range speaker. But if we put a lot of power into it, it's going to completely decimate the speaker. The speaker's not going to last. It's going to blow up. You might even have some fire. However, if we were to perfectly channel the Poe, we're talking levitation. We're talking we can bring things from the ether or the Poe. Now, this makes little sense at first, but then when you were talking about seeds, he had mentioned seeds linking to atoms and electrons. So if we're talking about atoms and electrons, stuff coming out of nowhere, where would the mind have to go? Well, you have to go to quantum theory for this. This is big. This is no longer a book anymore, guys. If we're talking about something that could possibly bring quantum theory to the world, they are an untouched civilization. They're able to tell you where they came from. However, we have lost a lot of the power. Now, if the power could go back to these people, maybe they can possibly detail to us more how the seed and these signs become string theory, which again takes us back to Nikola Tesla. If Tesla gave us the frequency, we don't know a couple things. If we wanted to move something, like let's say anti-gravity, right? If we wanted to move something, so far all we have is the frequency. We don't have the amperage. We don't have the understanding of how this matter will move other matter. And without having that, then we don't have the information of what the matter truly is. So even if this was a rock that we're just trying to move without touching it, telekinesis doesn't work. And here's why. You have to do something to it for it to interact. Quantum theory says no, not necessarily so. Quantum theory says, yes, there's a possible way to move that object, that little rock. You can move that little rock a little ways, but to move it, pull it up into the air, move it to another part of the world, yeah, these are all possible theories, but they're theories, meaning we would have to understand the string structure of this item, be able to manipulate that item and move it. I'm technically talking about a tractor beam. That's kind of what this would be driving to. This is Star Wars, Star Trek stuff. A tractor beam, a beam that pulls your ship to the mothership, the beam that moves a person from the ship to the land somewhere. We're able to move you or move items. This is no longer religion. This is understanding of universal values and the possible interactions that one can have with the universe. Wouldn't that be a little bit more fun than religion? A little bit more fun than being told, hey, if you do good, you go here. If you do bad, you go here. I mean, dude, we're so powerful. They're afraid of us, which is why they want you to follow one book. If I were a maniacal genius, that's what I would do. That's all I'm saying. So we've learned a lot. We've gone deep. We got the Ama, we have the Po, we got some info, we got some cool stuff from the Dogon over in Africa. These are the original people. They blacker than black, you understand? Trust me, they from our culture. They do have a lot to do with why we're here. And if this new information is becoming a change to what modern day theology is going to be, guess what? We're going to be on the front of that, and we're going to keep on wrinkling brains. We're going to keep on doing it to you. I might do a Malcolm X piece next. Not too sure yet, but I thank you for hanging in there. I might have some options. I might even do a little poll or something. I don't know. I'll put some stuff out there and we'll see where it floats. I will be changing up the social medias. Yes, so social medias changes coming. The Twitter page may be disappearing for the podcast. However, we are moving to Rumble. We are going to have a Rumble page pretty soon. I'm looking at a couple other mediums. I really assumed Getter was going to be okay, but turns out no. So we're still feng shuiing, we're still in construction, we're still on the move, still doing stuff, still in the groove, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're gonna keep on doing what we're doing. And I thank you all for sharing this. Get it out to friends. Share this. Don't mind, please give this to other people. You know what I'm saying? Currently, sponsors. I'm gonna do some sponsors soon. So I'm gonna do some sponsorship segments. So I'll do at the beginning. I'll always put it at the beginning, so you just get past that and just do what I got to do, and then we can get to it, to the real. So there are going to be some changes. Again, there's changes coming up. I cannot stay stagnant. I got to keep moving. I got to keep doing stuff, and I'm happy I could do it for you. I'm happy you guys could join me. And yeah, I think we've definitely wrinkled a brain or two today. So even I'm like, whoa, it's pretty cool. So I thank you guys for checking this out. Thank you guys for giving me the time. Please like, share, subscribe on the YouTube algorithm. I'm trying to get at least 100 people, but let's get this out. Let's get some data out there. It's Black History Month. I'm just talking about black folks. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yo, with the way Whoopi Goldberg followed off, yo, I'm sorry. I'm trying to take that spot. You know what I'm saying? So let me at least give you some data, at least be clear on where I'm getting it from. I'm not trying to lie to you, and I'm definitely not trying to tell you it ain't about race, because it probably is. So have fun with that. Damn, Whoopi Goldberg really just kind of fall off, didn't she? Damn, man. I was waiting for Guinan to come back. I was trying to watch the whole new Star Trek, you know what I'm saying? But go over here and say some wild shit. Damn, bitch. Fuck. Like you didn't help me out, you know? But yeah, have fun out there, guys. Laugh, be happy, go do something with your family. It's cold out there. Play a game, you know, play a board game, make it interactive for everybody. Just be good to each other, you know what I'm saying? Reach out to somebody, share this to someone who doesn't even know who I am. Better yet, share this to yourself. If you ain't seen this yet, watch the whole thing, get to the end, find out the magic word. The magic word is beans. Holla, beans. If you actually have watched the whole thing, you can comment that below. You could be the wrinkle that really changes everything. If you've listened this far, comment the word beans. Let me know that you watched the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to really get some people. We're going to do some beautiful stuff coming here soon. But if you've watched this far, I need you to comment below on any social medias. Share this, share the word beans. That's the word. But also put that in like your comment section or something. You know what I'm saying? Don't just be giving out the special word. But the special word today is beans. Check it out. Thank you guys for hanging in there. And until the next wrinkle, guys. I'm gonna keep doing it though. BG here. I'm out.